In 2004, Hillcrest Labs created a new TV experience. Known today as the Smart TV, Hillcrest defined a holistic system design that included the remote control, human interaction, and the user interface that would provide access to the huge array of content available on TV today. Presented here with narration by Hillcrest founder and CEO Dan Simpkins is the original home interface. The design concepts and implementations provide a unique insight into the early days of interactive TV, as well as highlight opportunities for new user experiences in the living room today.
Pull it up. I actually click up the guide. I actually have a scroll wheel. Why page down now? So I roll the wheel down, find something I want. Turns out I could go to these categories with tabs by layering other grazing categories, find something in the future, pull up my DVR, record it, and frankly, then just go back to television. So again, using a natural motion interface to control a traditional program guide just makes it better, more interesting than the kind of experience that we have today.
The whole idea here is to enable pointing on television, much like pointing today controls most smartphones and most tablets. The only problem, though, in those interfaces is you have to actually be in close proximity to those platforms. You have to be able to touch the screen. In television, you don't want to have to touch the screen. So we developed a device that effectively allows you to touch the screen from afar, from sitting on your couch or chair or lying in bed. Let's start by giving an example of how we might do that with changing channels with your program guide. So I clicked on the global icon 1, 2, 3, which brings up my mini guide. Now there are a couple of key elements of the mini guide. The first is obviously I'm touching, I'm sliding my finger up and down, I'm sliding my cursor up and down and highlighting. I can actually just click on a particular channel and change the channel. I could go back, click on a channel and change the channel. Now, I also have added a very important user interface component to this environment. Not only can I point, but I can scroll. Anytime we have linear lists, you want to be able to manipulate those lists quickly and efficiently without having to hit page down, or in a pointing interface without having to click on an arrow up or down, which takes a lot of work, very challenging, and not a good experience. Here, the wheel gives us that very smooth experience. The other thing that you see here are these tabs. So by creating layers, by having more than one overlay on the screen simultaneously, I could create a very rich amount of content or a substantial amount of control within a given environment without having to have it on the screen simultaneously. So instead of using a number list, which is the traditional way of accessing TV, we know today that we're going away from number lists. We're going to more content-based navigation. And in this particular case, alphabetical gives us an ability to browse for brands because we obviously have words or descriptors that are associated with that. So this is a similar browsing experience based on the alphanumerics. Another very important piece of television is controlling favorites. Most people today don't use the favorites on the remote control within their program guides, in their set-tops. It's just too complicated experience trying to program favorites using the remote control or trying to access favorites through a menu that may or may not be easy to get to. Here I have C-SPAN programmed. I can literally click and go one button. Let's describe an example of how I would configure a favorite. I'm going to go into settings, again using that zooming interface. The zooming interface is important because it gives you a spatial sense of where you are within a very sophisticated, complex experience. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we go to a different application. But I'm going to click on favorites. You see C-SPAN selected. I can literally point and click to take C-SPAN off. I could scroll down looking for WETA, public TV, which I like to watch a lot. I also am going to go back up, and my local NBC affiliate is WRC. I select that, and using global navigation, I have one button click right back to television. I'm going to go to favorites. There are my new favorites. I can point and click. So you see, not only in that case did I leave television, I went to my settings to configure a new set of favorites. I undid the favorites that were set. I selected 2 new favorites. I went back to television, and I manipulated, I used the favorites all in a matter of seconds. A much better experience when I'm able to point and click at the screen. Now, last control that we have here is volume. In this particular case, I again use the wheel to control volume. I can increase the volume. I can decrease the volume. I could do one button mute. I also have transport controls. The pointer is particularly powerful for transport controls because it would allow me to point and click anywhere on the screen. Because this is live television, I don't right now have anything programmed, but if I was recording content, you would see a yellow bar that described how much was recorded, and I would be able to point and click within that. Finally, if this is a DVR, the ability to use just one button to pause is an important part of the recording process. And as you could see, just using my left mouse button, anywhere on the screen, it doesn't matter, one button, I pause the show, and I can get up and walk away and then come back. So that gives you an idea of how we use overlays, how we include the general transport controls and volume, essentially the media control function on screen, as well as a set of mini guide functions that are implemented within this environment.